What's up, everybody? It's Peter Schrager with the Fox NFL cheat sheet for week 8. Here are the 5 things that I am thinking about this week. Number 1, who would have ever thought Brian Allen and Van Jefferson would be looked to as the saviors of the Rams season? And yet here we are. The defending Super Bowl champions are at a crossroads. They're 3-3. They're coming out of the bye, and the big takeaway is that their offensive line has stunk and has been a bunch of moving pieces. They get back Brian Allen, their starting center from last year, the guy who has not been on the field since week 1. He's Matthew Stafford's best friend right now because it's familiarity, it's comfort, and Allen can help solidify the line. That's one dude. Van Jefferson at times last year was the number 3 or even number 4 wide receiver. They need him desperately. He is clearly the number 2 right now when he enters back into this offensive scheme. You've got Cooper Kupp, you've got Allen Robinson figuring it out. You've got Ben Skorolnik figuring it out. You got Tutu Atwell, whatever he's bringing to you in the deep game. But Van Jefferson's going to have to step up in his first game coming this weekend against the hated 49ers. They need production. Look, I don't want to hit the panic button too soon, but we're almost there. We're almost there for the Rams. And coming off a bye, gosh, they cannot need or want or satiate more to have Brian Allen and Van Jefferson back. If you told me in August that they would need those guys to defend the Super Bowl champions, I might have told you were crazy. Number 2, the Bengals are back, and so is Joe Burrow. Remember when we all buried the Bengals after an 0-2 start and said the offensive line still couldn't protect them, and Zach Taylor can't call plays, and maybe Burrow still was recovering from the appendicitis? Bengals look good. They looked really good last week. They lit up the Falcons, a team that everyone was high on. And then in the second half against the Saints, they looked really good. And Burrow and Chase looked like the Burrow and Chase that we were expecting to see at the start of the season. But there is something to it. Maybe getting an emergency appendectomy in August does have an effect on how you play in September. And maybe facing TJ Watt and Micah Parsons in the first 2 weeks that doesn't look great for any offensive line. And maybe it just took a little bit of time for this team to get out of that Super Bowl hangover and to realize that, we're going to have to work as hard as ever to get back to this thing. Everyone is saying that it is a 2-horse race in the AFC, and that is Mahomes and the Chiefs and Allen and the Bills. Here comes the team that actually represented the AFC in the Super Bowl, the Cincinnati Bengals. And just wait, give it a month, maybe even less. You're going to start hearing some Joe Burrow MVP buzz. He's throwing the ball that well right now. Number 3, the Patriots are favored over the Jets in New York this weekend. Yes, they are. And that's even with the quarterback questions. That's even with them coming on a short week off a terrible loss at home to the Bears. And that's because of the history. The Jets simply cannot beat the Patriots. They haven't. This is one of those crazy deals where it's like mind control at this point. The Jets have lost 12 straight games to New England. That includes 6 at home. 12 straight. That goes back to 2015. Think about what you're doing in 2015. That's the last time the Jets beat the Patriots. And there's an even better stat. They haven't beaten the Patriots in the regular season in regulation since 2010. Their quarterback on that team was Mark Sanchez. This is real stuff. And that starts playing tricks with your brain. It starts tricks with your mind and the fans and the crowd. This is a huge game for the Jets. If Zach Wilson, without Breece Hall and without Elijah Vera Tucker, the big lineman who's now out for the season, if the Jets could beat the Patriots this weekend, despite being home underdogs, it would do a lot. It would do a lot. It would tell the rest of the league we're not the same old Jets, which is something that the Jets have been trying to scream from the mountaintops all season. But it would also slay a couple of those ghosts that have been in the closet that, hey, Belichick, we got the best of Belichick, and we did it with all of these young cats. The Jets haven't won in 12 games. This would be a big one. And this is a huge, huge game in the AFC East standings. Number 4, I wanted to shout out to great Cincinnati Bearcat teammates who are kicking butt in the NFL. And that is 2 rookies, Sauce Gardner and Kobe Bryant. Yes, his name is Kobe Bryant, and he's got that Mamba mentality. Kobe Bryant was a 4th-round pick of the Seattle Seahawks, and last week had a key interception and has been in just about every big play. He's starting at corner for Seattle, and he's been excellent. Kobe Bryant actually won the Thorpe Award last year for the best defensive back in college football. His teammate was Sauce Gardner, who was a top 5 pick. Both these guys were awesome at Cincinnati and part of that amazing team that went all the way to the college football playoff. They get to the NFL and it's like they don't even skip a beat. This is crazy how good they both are. Sauce, to me, it has been a revelation. This guy, Sauce Gardner, has won the AFC Defensive Player of the Week award, and that is as a rookie doing that. He shut down Cortland Sutton last week. He leads in a lot of statistical categories based on real stats and then the Pro Football Focus stats, and he's a rookie. To think that the Cincinnati Bearcats last year had a guy who is on his way to being Defensive Rookie of the Year at one corner and another guy who's a starting corner in the NFL for a 4-3 team and is balling out every week, that says something. What a pair of Bearcats. Kudos to them. Number 5, just a shout out. Shout out for Kevin White. Kevin White was a first-round pick in 2016 of the Chicago Bears. He was the 7th overall pick. He was a speedster. He was built like an Adonis, but he battled injuries. He only had 19 catches his rookie season, and there's this big hype about him his sophomore year, and it just never came to be. Chicago kept him on the roster for a couple more years, and then he bounced around the league. And you hate seeing it, a top 10 pick who just hadn't worked out, and he had that bust label that was lingering, but he was always getting injured. So your heart went out for Kevin White, who always said the right thing and was beloved by teammates. But he would go from Chicago, then he would with the Niners at one point, with the Cardinals at one point. He ends up with the Saints, and it's kind of like he's on the practice squad. He's off the practice squad. He missed all 2020 season. And then last week, we're watching Thursday Night Football, and it's Saints versus Cardinals. And who knew that Kevin White was picked up off the practice squad earlier in the day? He goes and has the biggest reception of his NFL career, a 54-yard catch. He takes it all the way down to the goal line. And I think it was a collective gasp from football fans. That Kevin White? Yes, that Kevin White, 6 years after being drafted 7th overall, had a huge game against the Cardinals, makes a huge play, and I couldn't be happier for the guy. These are the stories you want to rally around. Everyone figured he was done. Everyone on the outside didn't even think about him, and there's Kevin White just chipping away, working at it on a practice squad at this age, and yet gets his name called, comes up and makes the big play. Gosh, I love it. Kevin White plays the Raiders this weekend. I picked him up on my fantasy team. I don't know if he's going to catch any balls, but I like rooting for him. Kevin White, you're on my lineup. And that's it for the Fox NFL cheat sheet for week 8. Awesome slate of games this week, yet again. Can't wait to talk about them next week right here at Fox Sports Digital.